Well, hi, thanks for coming. I'm Kim, and this is my Crafty Chaos Emporium on holidays. It is now school holidays for 2 weeks, so happy holidays to Jenny at In My Spare Time Crochet, and Litza at Coco's Crochet, and Victoria at Vicky Bass Designs. We are all fortunate enough to be working in a school system that is having 2 weeks holidays. No plans. I had a market yesterday. I have a market in 2 weeks and then another week after that, and I will get on to a little bit more of that later. So this video may just end up being slightly longer than normal, and my normal for the last few weeks, which has been absolutely nothing because I haven't had anything to talk to you about. I've been a bit brain fried from work. I haven't done much crochet. Markets was continually cancelled, and yes, it's annoying, but I can't complain because the two organisers were really sick and in hospital. So, yeah, it is what it is. But it is annoying that my other market was cancelled for rain. This one was cancelled for 4 months. And so, yeah, anyway, it's not been a great run for markets. So what I'm going to show you is a couple of things that I've been making this week. I'm just checking my notes because I actually made notes this time because I've got things I need to remember. So there's a couple of things that I've made, which is bugger all. Crochet roulette for this week, and then I've got a really weird thing that happened when I was prepping for markets. I'm going to show you a couple of my my plushies have something really bizarre happen to them. Little bit of market prep, and then I'll go over what's happened at the markets. So yeah, a little bit of a mix of everything. So, you know, if you're not interested in some bits, fast forward. You know, the algorithm loves it if you stay, but, you know, you do what you do you. If you don't want to watch bits of it, you fast forward too. I don't care. Do what makes you happy. So this week, actually, I was going to show you what I made, and I haven't made anything. I don't even know what I've been doing this week. I think I brought... Oh, I remember bringing my stuff upstairs and working on price tags. So I did do a little bit of tagging. Then I had to run around the house and find all the things that I had stashed in different places, which were needing to go into the market bag. So, for example, everything that was on this shelf, I nearly left behind. And I did come in and strip it bare. So the only thing really that's left on there is that Evie, which is a gift for someone. Anyway, long story, that's a gift for someone, and then some random balls of wool. So there's really not much up there that is interesting for you to look at. It's just a bit of a background, I guess. So yeah, I spent the week getting ready for the market with the tags and stuff, and having done that and tagged most of my things, I was sitting at the markets yesterday and thinking, you know what, I might change my price categories, which means I've got to carry all that stuff back upstairs again and re-tag everything that I tagged. So I'm going to have to think about that, because I was thinking of going to a new market that is in a bit more of a bit less of a low socioeconomic area. It's a bit more middle class area. So my prices can change for that one. So anyway, I'll think about that as something to do. And I'm on 2 weeks holiday, so yeah, I can get that done. Alrighty, so yeah, I lied, and I lied when I said I had makes to show you. I got no makes to show you. I haven't really done anything at all. I'm just looking to make sure that there's nothing sitting around here that I made. No. So the next thing then is Crochet Roulette 2025. I cannot remember what week it is. I'm sure you might remember. I have a feeling it might be week 5. So anyway, I know that this week happened to be a pastel safari animal. So in the spirit of Big Fat Pig, I made a little fat elephant. So I just did the same idea for the body. It's just a ball. I did the same little stumpy legs, and the ears are circles. So this is, I just freehanded this guy. So the ears are 2 circles. So the yarn that I've used is Aldi. So it's the Aldi Pale Blue, and then it's the Aldi Variegated there. So I made a circle, and I'm pretty sure I only started with 6, so that it would end up with that little cone shape rather than the 8, which would make it a bit more flat. So I did the blue and the rainbow the same size, and then I just went around the outside with the blue to join them together, stitched them to the head, and made 2 flippy flappy ears. The trunk, it's not what I was planning, but I don't care. It looks a little bit weird from the side. Yeah. So I was doing a curve, but it's sort of, it it protruded just a little bit more than I expected before it started curving. So I might even just, I don't know, I might just work some of the stuffing back out into the body and just, anyway, it's not hideous. And then his head's on a little bit of a thing, and I think he's hugely cute. And then I just embroidered eyes on it as well. The head tilt thing, I would love to claim that as a design choice, but no, that's me having done the face and putting the legs on last, and it didn't align. So that's a wonkelated elephant. So that's all I did for Safari Pastel this week. I kind of love it. Not the trunk so much, clearly, because it's just a little bit. Anyway, so elephant. So I will put up the spinners for next week and we'll see what's coming up. So please hold. Next week's theme, red space. Don't know. Don't know what we've got apart from rockets, astronauts in red suits. Monsters and aliens seems to be like a pretty obvious thing, but any ideas, stick them down below. Please share, because I got nothing at the moment. So I will Google and have a look for some ideas. And I'm sure something random will come to me during the week. I don't actually have a lot of red yarn. I'm not a red fan, but I'm sure I'll scratch up something and come up with something. I don't know. Maybe I can do a space pig. Wasn't there a Muppets? Wasn't there an old Muppet show, Pigs in Space? Wasn't that a segment on the Muppet Show? Okay, leave that with me. All right, moving right along. So that was Crochet Roulette, red space, and last week's pastel elephants. And again, I would strongly suggest that you hit up one of the YouTube channels for people who are coordinated enough to get everybody's photos up. So Tracy or Jenny or anyone else on the list that has been doing that, or get yourself over to the Instagrams and check out the Crochet Roulette 2025 hashtag, because they're, I mean, some people, like, I'm pushing it to get that one thing done, but some people just go absolutely nuts and just do the most amazing things. So, yeah, pop over there and have a sticky beak at what's been going on for Safari Week. And speaking of Instagram, oh my goodness, I had a tester call for my magic mushroom, and I initially said that I was just going to do that as a video because it was kind of a throwaway pattern, and I just thought, but Tracy and Nicole have both said, no, that's not just a throwaway pattern. So I did the tester call, and I had something like 25, 28 people, which is like a world record for my tester calls. So flippin' hard to pick people out of that. It really was. I picked people for different reasons, and I ended up with 8, and oh my goodness, you should see what they've done. I'll tell you what, they have just knocked it out of the park. There is some amazing stuff there. We've got glow-in-the-dark yarn. We've got a bit of a Harry Potter theme going on. We've got blanket yarn and normal acrylic yarn, and and they're all amazing. They are all amazing. So, yeah, there's going to be a whole bunch of great pictures for you to have a look at. That test finishes on Monday, although everybody's pretty much finished. I think we might just, it's not closed yet, so I'm not rushing anybody, but I think there's still one to come in, which is great because that gives me time to get the pattern ready, and it should be out pretty much by Tuesday, I would think. So, yeah, that's something to look out for, and I'm really, really pleased with the reception for that, and I'm just absolutely stoked with what the testers have done. They've just, yeah, it's really lovely, really lovely. And I like how everybody can take the same pattern and just do something slightly different with it. So, like some people have stuffed the cap and some people have just left it. And yeah, it's really, really good. I took them to markets. I didn't sell any, but they did get a little bit of attention. So maybe next time, maybe if I have more, I will talk about markets in a minute. I'm trying to be systematic. I'm absolute rubbish at being systematic and being organized. So I do have notes here. Look, I'll even tick off. There we go. I'm ticking off what I've done. Testicle was not on the list. All right. So as I was preparing for markets, a really bizarre thing happened. So you might remember a couple of videos back, I said I was doing a pop-up market at work, which went really, really well the first time. Absolute bomb the second time, but I did get a few orders out of it. So I shouldn't say it's a bomb, but anyway, no, only one person bought something on the day, but I did get orders from somebody who came back the next day and said, oh, hey, we really like that thing you had. I had that stuff, and I don't usually do this, but I had it packed in one of those, and I know that these are universal because I see them in TV shows and stuff, but you know those bags, those big plastic bags, and they've got like blue and white and red stripes and stuff on them. They're like super cheap bags, and you just use them for packing up crap and storing it in the garage or under the bed or whatever. So I had everything in one of those. And the most bizarre thing happened when I was unpacking it the other day, because I had to transfer all of those things into my regular market bags, because I have my market bags all set up by size category so that they're just, I can pick up that bag and put it on that shelf. So it's, you know, I am systematic at the markets sometimes. But yeah, so here's what happened. And the weird thing is, it only happened with things made out of this peach color Aldi yarn. It did not happen with anything else. And I don't know why. So look, this is, I noticed it first on this cat, and I hope you're going to be able to see, but can you see the blue on its feet? So on the white bits, and then also here on the belly, sorry, glasses will help me to see that. So on the feet, on the paws, on the belly, not on the back, oh yeah, all down the back of the legs there. I don't know if you can tell, but there's dark blue all over this cat. And I thought, you know, I showed it to Tracy, and I'm like, what? Anyway, I had a bit of a dig around, and then I found this little octopus, blow me down, this little jellyfish, which is also made of Aldi yarn, and it's got blue on it around the top there as well. And then unpacking even more, I found this peach, which I have had. This is one of the very first things I ever made. So it was headed for a mystery bag. But this peach has got blue all over it too. And I know this, I can see that that's really hard to tell, but there's blue all over this one as well. So the only thing I can think of is that the blue, that bag had like a blue piping around the seams. Or the blue colour from the stripes. I don't know, you know, why the blue, why not the red, and why only on the Aldi yarn. So, you know, it's not like these things were together in the bag. They were just randomly in the bag. So I really don't know what to do with these. You know, do I chuck them in the washing machine and try to see what happens? Do I try and sponge it off and maybe make it worse? So if you've got any ideas, if you've ever seen anything like that before, I've got no idea what's going on. I'm tending towards perhaps spraying it with some stain remover spray and then popping it through the washing machine. They'll take a really long time to dry, although it has actually been 30 degrees. So if I'm going to do that, maybe it's a good time. Anyway, yeah, I'm really a little bit annoyed with that. I mean, this is not the greatest make, but I did love his little toe beans, and he only went to market a couple of times. So yeah, that's bizarre, absolutely bizarre that it's only on the peach Aldi yarn. So maybe it's something to do with the composition of that yarn. It's smooth and it's smooth and it's soft, but it's kind of like, you know, when you pick up a microfiber dish towel, it's soft and smooth, but it has got a little bit of a, not abrasive, but I don't even know how to explain it. It's sort of, this is like a suede kind of feel to me, I guess. So maybe it's just the texture of that was enough to pick it up. I don't know, but yeah, so that's, and they're those, the cat and the peach, they're from my highest price level stuff, so a little bit more pissed about that too. Anyway, any tips on how to do cleaning stuff, because I'm crap at cleaning, so any ideas on that would be gratefully appreciated. Ticking off the stains. So as far as market prep went, I didn't have anything to do because markets has been so few and far between. I had an entire extra bag of stock, so I did actually have to leave some things out. So yeah, like I said, the only prep was making sure that everything had tags on it, and then putting the new things that have never been to markets before, like the bluey and the stitch and the Eeyore and the stuff that was sitting up on this shelf up here had never been to market, so that all had to be priced. And then packing the car, which was actually, and I'm not sure why, but I seemed to have, even though I had more stock, I had a bit of extra space in the back of the car, so that was fine. But yeah, so on to markets then. If you know me and if you've been around for a bit or if you've backtracked in my videos, you'll know that setup at the markets is my biggest challenge. So this time I wasn't actually expecting to be any quicker than normal because I did have an extra table. So now I've got 2 6-foot and a 4-foot, whereas before I only had a 6 and a 4, and then I used my grid walls. I don't know why I had the great idea of getting a second big table, but I did. So I had you'll see in the videos anyway, but I had the two 6s at the side with some of those shoe racks that I bought on top, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to buy at least another one of those shoe racks because there's a market that I'm going to where I probably won't be using my gazebo, so it'll just be tables. So yeah, I'm thinking that maybe if I get some more of those shoe rack things, I can just pop them on the tables and have a nice big vertical display. So anyway, it took me probably took me a little bit longer than it should, but not as long as it normally does. So I did my setup 5 minutes under 2 hours, which is pretty darn good. So I'm really happy with that. So before I go any further with that, what I'll do is I've taken school holidays. I've taken a little bit of video. I'll pop it in here. I didn't get any video during the markets because it was hot and it was boring and I was just like crocheting just to keep awake. But yeah, I did get a bit of a video of my setup. So not the process of setup, but you know what I mean. Watch the video. Here it is. Market day. Only took a few months, well, like 4 or 5 months, but here we go. Market day. I'm all the way down the end. I've just dropped off my stuff, just dropped off the car. Not many people here yet, so I'm hoping that they're all just having a sleep in and coming soon. Let's head down here and I'll show you the pile of stuff I've got because you know this is always an issue for me. So we're in a park in the middle of the shopping centre, well, the side of the shopping centre. We're also next to a train line, and this train line, unlike mine, is actually working. Mine's closed for like 2 years because they're building an extra, I don't know, doing something with another train line. But anyway, this is my pile of stuff. This is my spot. This lady is always here way before me. Way before me. I don't know what time she gets here. Anyhow, so this is my stuff. I've got no idea what time it is. Let's see what time it is. Okay, so it's currently 6:47. I've got that, and I've got to get it into that space. 6:47, let's see how long this one takes. Okay, so it's now 8:46-ish, I think. So I think I finished setting up in about, it was about 5 minutes under 2 hours, which, given that I had an extra table and I hadn't really planned the setup, is not too bad. There's a lot of stuff that I haven't put out because I'm going to show you in a moment in a video, and gosh, I look terrible in this. Sorry, bad luck. Yeah, there's not much going on. There's hardly any people here. There's been 2 people walking around and one of them stopped to take photos, and I don't know why she did that, but anyway. Yeah, there's not many vendors here. It is a nice day. It's cloudy, so I don't know if the cloud will burn off later. It's supposed to be 31 degrees Celsius, so it's going to be a stinker. Anyway, I will just flip this video around and show you my perspective from my back corner of the store. So this is my big stuff. This is all my fancy things that are just random prices based on how I'm feeling. Down the front there is my chunks. They're all one set price. Jellies hanging from inside. Slinky worms. Key rings. All my small stuff over there. That's like ducks, chickens, little loaf cats, frogs, tiny octopus. It's my medium. Oh, I'm going to have to get up off my butt, aren't I? Okay. Look. Alright, this is me getting up. So here we go. This is all the medium-sized stuff. It's all my small things. I think it might be a little bit dark, but it could just be that I don't have the colour on my phone turned up. There we go. It's the cats. Some key rings. Slinky worms here. jellies. And here is Big Fat Pig at Market Debut. And there's a blossom with a slightly different flower crown. Turtles. There's the big fat cat that prompted the big fat pig. This crochet roulette emu, and somebody's already been by and had their eye on that. There's all those drift octopuses. Absolutely love them. And that's the jag jellyfish with the cotton. Random handmade dragon. Pattern test that I did for Adorably Cute Amigos dragon. And here's some licensed stuff for its first journey at my markets as well. I was pretty happy with the setup actually. The space was good. There was room for people inside. It's still got, it's funny, you know, when I say we, I include you in that. We've talked before about how, you know, it just takes one person to be looking at your stuff and then a whole bunch of other people flock over, and it's a really weird psychology about that. I'm not sure what it is. I'm going to Google it. But yeah, it was funny. Yesterday, two people from work swung by, and they both came in they were together, but they both came in at different times. And one of them was chatting with me, and somebody walked in and she said, I better let you go. And I'm like, no, stay and just, you know, touch things while you chat. I said, watch what happens. And so she sort of stood there just chatting. And as she did, just like clusters of people kept coming in. It was really odd. But then as soon as she left and they sort of trickled out, it was empty again for a while. And then the other lady came by and she sort of stood around chatting and looking at things. And then another flock of people came by. So it was really good that those two sort of popped in and out for a little while, because every time they popped in, I had more people, which was lovely. So thank you to Linda and Sharon. I know that they're not going to be watching, but anyway, thanks to them, they actually drew a few more people in. And Linda, as always, spent some money, and she's ordered some things this time, which I'll go over in a little while too. So yeah, it was not the greatest market. This was my regular market. This is the craft market that I've been going to, started last year. I think I started mid last year. It's supposed to be every month, the last Saturday. Yes, the last Saturday of the month. And as I said, it's been cancelled for 4 months. And then before that, it was cancelled for rain. And yeah, so I think I think that's the second time I've been this year. And look, it's not very well advertised. It's only $50 for the spot, $50 Australian. I don't know what that is. You'll have to do your conversions. But it's not well advertised. And I've spoken to them about that before and said, you know, why don't you try this and why don't you try that? And they're like, oh, no. They don't like advertising too much on Facebook because they were getting, I don't know, trolls or spam comments or something like that. So what they do is they pop down to the local area and they put a few signs up in the week before. But apparently they only do that on one. So the market is right up against a train station in a park, and they do that on one side of the train station where there's a lot of shops, and not on the other side where there's shops but not quite so many. So, you know, because we've been gone so long, people, I guess, who were expecting that market to be there every month have just been like, oh, well, it's not on anymore. And if they don't specifically go to Facebook and look at that organisation's website, Facebook page, then they're not going to know that it was cancelled for a certain number of months. So I'd say that had an impact. The second thing that probably impacted was that it's the first weekend of school holidays. And so if I was a parent, I would not be bringing my kids to the market where they're going to pester for things and then have 2 weeks of holidays where I have to keep listening to them pester me for more things. So yeah, first weekend of school holidays is not great. And then my next market's going to be the last weekend of the school holidays, which is less great because then the parents have definitely spent all their money. The only thing that might boost that market is that if there's kids who haven't spent their, you know, school holidays pocket money, maybe that might help. It's also going to be halfway through October, or it's going to be into October. Yeah, probably about halfway through October. So maybe Halloween, but I don't really crochet for Halloween. So anyway, it was a very, very slow market, and I counted about 25 stalls. Normally we have, I would say probably close to double that. So there'd be at least 50 stalls there. but there was only 25. And rather than grouping everybody, we were spread out, so there was empty spaces everywhere, and it didn't look great. There was absolutely nobody there until 10 o'clock. Nobody walked into my stall. So I got there at 6:30ish, 6:50ish. And nobody walked into my stall until 10 o'clock. And I don't think I even sold anything until about 11. So yeah, it was rough. I did speak to someone else there who said, actually I spoke to a couple of vendors who said, yeah, well, we've just made our money back and no more. So I guess I was a bit fortunate because I made the money back plus. So yeah, it was disappointing, but it was not surprising. And the lady next to me who's been with them for quite a while, she said she's getting the feeling that they may not be there much longer. Look, they're sick. They're not old, but they're not young. They're older than me, so I'd say they'd be in their 60s at least. And they've been unwell. So yeah, I don't know. But I'll go into the other markets I found a little bit later. So I'm trying to focus and be organised. So on this one, I didn't sell much at all. I normally sell around about 30 to 35 different items. So, some people buy multiple, but all up I usually do about 30 to 35 different items. This time, I think I added it up and now I forgot, 16. I sold 16 things. And that was from... well, the markets is sort of like about 8:30, and I started packing up at 1:15. So 16 things over that time. It was dead slow. So I'll go into what I've got. If I've got a picture, I'll put it up. I don't photograph everything that I make because, again, not organised. So I sold 8 key rings, and 2 of those were frogs. And I have in the past made those little poop bags that you make a little plushy thing and you put the little roll of poop bags in there to take on your walk with your doggo. So I actually hung those up with the key rings this time because I only had them priced at $6, so it's only a $1 difference. So yeah, 2 frog key rings and a frog poop bag, which was lovely. And I did double check with the girl before she took it. So I just randomly, and I really don't think I'll have a picture of it, but I made this little tiny broccoli, and it was just a freehand broccoli, and I don't know why, but I made a broccoli key ring one day, and a lady came and she had a look at it and she's like, do you have one smaller? It's just too big for my phone. I'm like, no, I don't. And then someone else came and said, have you got one bigger? No, I don't. And then it was a bit of the Goldilocks. Someone came along and said, yep, that's just right. And I actually sold a broccoli, and like other people were interested, which is bizarre because no one's even given it a second look in the 6 months that I've had it. So yeah, I sold a broccoli keyring and a carrot keyring and a little chicken keyring. And someone was asking for more chicken keyrings, different colours and stuff. So I'll have to get on to that, I think, just in case. A strawberry, and that was it. So I think, yeah, nothing exciting in the keyrings really. But that was my biggest category. I sold 8 different keyrings out of 16 things altogether. So, I mean, it's good, but look, it's not going to put the kids through dental school. I sold 1 slinky worm. They get lots of tugs and flicks and things, and I usually sell about half a dozen of those, but this time 1 slinky worm, which, if we're looking at percentages and ratios and crowd versus, normal business, one's probably about right for that number of people. My little mini loaf cats, I have them labelled as homeless kitties, and that, like I've said before, if you are selling those little loaf cats or even the big ones, if you label them as homeless kitties, people are like, oh, and they sell. They sell way better than they did before I just called them cats. So an orange one and a variegated one of those went. And then the great thing is this lady was there, and she was looking at everything very, very, very thoroughly. And I'd say she was there for about 15 minutes, and she didn't speak or anything. I think she said hi when she came in, and I tend to leave people alone because, I don't want them to feel like I'm sort of pressuring them to stay and buy something if I say, hi, how you going, whatever, which, to each their own. I know some people like to greet everybody. I don't. Interesting, like at another market I was at, I was outside of my stall, just sort of looking at vendors opposite me, and a young girl walked in, and I thought, oh crap, I better go back. And as soon as I walked in, she bolted. And when I say young girl, probably say 18, 20-ish. She just took off as soon as I walked in. And she lingered sort of up the way a little bit. And then as soon as I stepped out, she came back. And I thought, aha, there we go. Not everybody wants you to be in there. And not everybody wants to be greeted either. I know, I'd rather sometimes just walk around the markets and have a look at things without, someone engaging me in conversation, because I guess I'm just being really cynical and thinking that they're trying to get me to stay and buy stuff. And I don't want people to feel like that. So I do say hi to people. I smile at people. I don't just ignore them, but I don't engage them unless they engage first, because, not everybody likes humans. So anyway, this one lady, like I said, she was walking around for about 15 minutes, looking at everything. She had a little pile of stuff in front of her, and I thought, great, that's going to pay for my stall. She ended up putting most of it back. But she wanted specific cats. And so she's actually ordered 2 little cats from me. She wants one that looks like a rag doll and one that looks like a black and grey tabby. So that's my mission for the next couple of days, is to work out how I can just do a rag doll. And I did have I don't think I've got any here. I did have a little one that was grey with a white, like the tuxedo cat, so grey with the white face. And she said, just reverse that and it would be fine. So I'm going to Google rag doll and see. And then she had a photo of the tabby that she wants. And so I took a photo of her photo. So I'm pretty sure I'm just going to use the Bernat Mystical in Cinder, and I'll just stripe that with a grey, and that should make the tabby look exactly like hers. And then I'm thinking white whiskers on that one and probably black whiskers on the other. But again, I have to Google ragdoll, because I know what they look like roughly, but I'm not sure of the details. So yeah, that's great. And she's already paid for those, so that's a guaranteed sale. So that's lovely. And I've got her number, and I'll give her a call when her kitties are ready. So yeah, 2 kitties bought, 2 kitties ordered. So that was fabulous. Out of my small things, I just sold just your average little garden variety yellow and black striped bee with the white wings, and a duck made out of, excuse me while I turn my back on you again. No, I don't have it, but it's that variegated from Spotlight Mill Ends, the one that I tracked down to a company in India. So it was a blue and white variegated with maybe a little bit of green in it, but just the rubber duck pattern from Amateur Hour. If you go to my description, there's a link to my Google Doc, and any patterns that I use are in there, and usually some channels that I mention, I have a link in there as well. Then I had an ice cream. So I'm going through this by price range. So in my next range up, which is my middle range, was an ice cream made out of, and I'm looking around again because I'm just not that organised, but don't have it, but it's the Aldi variegated with the orange and pink in it. So it looks like a raspberry and mango or raspberry and passion fruit kind of topping. So that was on top of the ice cream, little face on the front. They go really well. So if you haven't tried ice cream cones, they go really good, especially when you make little characters. So like I made a little chocolate one that looked like a bear, and I've got another one that looks like a frog. So yeah, even just like a scoop with a little blob of cream and a cherry on top, they go pretty good. I usually have a lady that comes and buys them first thing in the mornings, but she didn't come, so maybe next time. So that was an ice cream, and then only 2 other things. I sold a big fat pig, the pink one, which was the very first big fat pig. A little girl came and bought it, and I told her what it was called, and the mum said, oh, it was the ears. And I said, yeah, I think the ears is why people liked it too. So yeah, a little girl absolutely loved it, didn't want it in a bag, and hugged it all the way around the markets. And so big fat pig, one of them has gone to a new home, which was lovely. And then the very last thing that I sold was a koala that is the free pattern off Instagram, and I can't for the life of me remember the name. I'll look it up after and add it to the screen, but it's also linked in my description, in the document in my description below. So that was a little koala in overalls that went to a new home. So that was it. That was it. I sold absolutely nothing else. So that was 16 things. That came to a total of 132. take out $50 for the stall, so $82. Not hideous, but far from great. And remember, if you're from a different hemisphere, that is Australian dollars. And yes, so it's kind of abysmal, but trying to be positive, which is not my native state. Can't complain, I guess, because it wasn't, there were factors. So that was done. And then lady from work who I mentioned stopped by, and she bought a couple of things. She has ordered from me. So she's ordered, so the drift octopus. Oh, that's what I was going to say, was I had all my jellyfish hanging up the front, and they are definitely a crowd bringer inner. So the jellyfish will hang up. People would just be like, oh, jellyfish. And then they would look at those, and I had some more jellyfish down the back. So I sort of bring them in. Didn't sell a jellyfish, but that's okay because they got people in, and those people came and bought other things. But the lady from work, she saw the purple jellyfish that I made. I'm pretty sure I've got a photo that I can insert here. If not, I'm a great big liar. It was a purple jellyfish, and the tentacles were different variegated purple and lavender and white. And so she's like, can you make me the drift octopus in those colours? So that's my next mission after I do the 2 cats, is because I've got to have the cats ready. The lady doesn't want the octopus until school goes back. So, yeah, I've got to work on a drift octopus in all different colours. She wants the tentacles to be in different colours like the jellyfish was. So I'm not sure how that's going to look, but we'll give it a shot. I'm having some thoughts as we go, but we'll see. So then she also asked if I could make some bags. So, back in the day we used to get it, and I know some people at markets still do, used to fold a tea towel in half, stitch up the side, bit of elastic at the bottom, twist tie at the top, and you'd shove all your plastic shopping bags in there and then pull them out the bottom. So bags. So she's asked me to make her 2 of those, and she wants them in purple. And so she went around and she's pointing out the plushes and the velours and saying, yep, that colour or that colour or that colour. And then she says, whatever, just make me 2 purple ones. She said about 1 foot long, and about 1.5 inches, 2 inches wide. So I can get the foot long, the 1.5 inches, 2 inches wide. Nah, that's a bit beyond me. So I started this one this morning. This is just some microfiber yarn with the Tiny Treasures from Spotlight. So there's the microfiber and the Tiny Treasures, and I'm just putting those together. And I've got just a hair tie at the bottom, and I think I'll just put a hair tie at the top. And she wants like a D-ring lobster claw on it so she can hang it up. So that's one. So I'll get that one out of the way. That's got another 2 inches to go, which is 1, 2, 3. So I'm doing that in double crochet. So 3 more rows of that, and then I'm done. And then I've just got to plug up this hole at the back where because I haven't done double crochet rounds for so long, I stuffed it up. So I'm just going to weave those together to close up those spaces a bit more. So there's that. So 2 bags and a multicoloured drift octopus. And that's me done for the market. So, yeah, $132 this time. Not great. Paid for the stall. Did better than some other people around me. I'm a little bit ticked off. It's advertised as a craft market. And one of the things they said to me was, well, we don't want people just going and buying things and putting them out on their counter to sell. But the people next to me had 2 spaces, and they just had tables of their old DVDs and jigsaw puzzles and jewelry and stuff. So they just were doing like basically a white elephant kind of thing. And then there's people who just sell clothes, and they're not handmade clothes, they're made in China clothes. And there's a couple of other people selling secondhand stuff. And I'm like, well, it's supposed to be a curated market. It's supposed to be a craft market. So, yeah, the lady next to me with the DVDs and stuff, they were doing that laminated cricket, not laminated, but, they're doing that cricket stuff where you might put monograms on drink bottles and stuff. Lady on the other side of me, hers is all handmade. The husband does the 3D printing stuff, and the lady does the tea towels and hand towels with the crochet bits on the end. So, there are handmade stalls around, but there is also a whole lot of not handmade and some pretty shonky stuff as well. I mean, if I wanted to be at a garage sale market, there's plenty that I would go to. But yeah, anyway, so I'm a little bit annoyed with that, but they've got to make their money back because they have to pay the council the rent for the day, and I don't think they made it back yesterday, unless the people who cancelled forfeited their money. But I very much, when I did the maths, I don't think that they would have made their money back at all. So I guess they can't be picky at this point about who they take. So that was my market. So that was my regular. It will be on again in a month, but I'm not sure if I'll be there. I'm just going to whip open my iPad. Please hold 1 second. I just wanted to open the calendar on my iPad because I do actually have a few markets booked. So I've got one on the 11th, which is going to be the Saturday, the last Saturday of the school holidays. So I'm not thinking that's going to be very good at all. I'm really not expecting that to be good. And then many thanks to Victoria from Vicky Bass Designs, who makes... I've just got one right in front of me. Oh, that's something I was going to show you too. Anyway, who makes these fabulous hooks with the beads. Now, I actually got a few extra on there. Normally, I put a makeup brush on them. Makeup brush, bloody hell. A sponge. I usually put a makeup sponge on them. But I got her to give me a few extra beads, and I popped those on there too. So now when I hold it, I'm not just holding the hook, I've got some extra beads. Anyway, so Vic makes those and sells those, as well as Ami sticks now. So I was using that yesterday. Why was I talking about Victoria? Because Victoria messaged me this morning and she's like, oh, hey, new market and it's free. And so I have booked in for another market on the 18th, which will be what is it today? I don't even know. So that'll be the weekend at the end of the first week back at school. So I'll be nice and tired. But that's a 3 till 8 in the evening market. So I don't know how that's going to go. And I'm thinking because we're coming into spring, it's probably not going to be real dark. So I'm going to start watching what it looks like at 8 o'clock. I don't actually have any lights or anything. So I'm hoping, it's at a shopping centre, I want to say. Honestly, I didn't really look. I just booked it. So I don't know how that one's going to go because I was looking at their Facebook page and they said the last market they had, which was like an anniversary celebration market, they only had 5 stalls. So, I mean, it's a free market for this one, so I'm not going to complain. It won't be free in future. I'm sure it's like $55 or something. I don't know. So anyway, it's also an organisation or a company that has markets in all different places, but mostly around the outskirts of Sydney, adjoining regions, not necessarily in Sydney. But, if it turns out good, I'll make a trip. I don't mind doing that. So, yeah, that's on the 18th and then on the 25th. So there's 3 consecutive weekends. The 26th, the same market that I had yesterday, is back on again. And then 2 weeks after that, another one in the suburb. And then the 22nd of November. 22nd of November is the church one that I did back in March or April that was really, 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 really good. That was my best market yet. So they're on again. They're advertising it as a spring market, but being November 22nd, it's more around Christmas market season. So I'm hoping that's as good as it was last time. And I think Victoria's coming to that one as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, Vic. I'm pretty sure that you're coming to Hope Point. And then the weekend after that is the market again from yesterday. So I have... so that takes me through till the end of November, not counting for rain. 1, 2, 3, 5 markets between now and the end of November. I'm okay with that. There will be one in the middle of December. I really don't want to go to that one because it's the same market that I was at yesterday and it was absolute shite last year. They advertised it as a Christmas market. It was like 2 weeks before Christmas and everybody's like, yeah, no thanks. We've already done our Christmas shopping and we don't have any money left because now we've got to buy the food. So it was, I don't even remember what I did for that market. It was very low, probably about the same as yesterday actually. So given that it takes 2 hours to pack up, an hour to pack down, it's summer. So like yesterday was 31 degrees. It was stinking hot. So Victoria, you missed absolutely nothing yesterday in not coming. Yeah, it was stinking hot. My gazebo, my store faces the sun, so I left the walls up for most of the morning, and then when the sun shifted, I took the walls down to let the breeze come through. I had a neck fan that I got for Christmas, never thinking that I'd have to bring that out this early in the year, but yeah, it was a hot, hot, hot day. I ran out of my drink. I had some tea, but it was too hot for tea and I just couldn't be bothered. It was almost too hot to crochet. My hands were getting too sweaty on the yarn. So, yeah, December, it's just really uncomfortable. The pack up, the setup I don't mind because it's still quite cool in the morning. But the pack up in the middle of the day when it's like, up to 40 something degrees. No, thank you. I don't like the cold, but I also don't like the heat. So anyway, yeah, so lots and lots of markets coming up. So I probably will have to crochet some things, even though this one was a bit of a disaster and I didn't sell anything. And I'm not expecting a great deal over the next two, but I want to make sure I've got a bit of stuff for the church and maybe a little. Oh, I don't like doing seasonals, so I really don't want to do anything for Halloween or Christmas. So I'm thinking, I don't know. I did see someone in a video last year just made little Christmas hats that you could add to that people could buy and add to their plushies if they wanted, for an additional cost. So, that's an option if I just make a few different little Christmas hats and then people can be like, oh, I've got a Christmas, I don't know, turtle, whatever. So yeah, that's a thought, but I don't really like to do those because, like I said, I've made like three Halloween things last year and I've still got two left. So there's not much point. Halloween's not a great thing here. And the stuff in the shops is so cheap. I don't think people really want the expensive stuff. The one thing that I did sell, oh, sorry, I'm doing something on my table. The one thing that I did sell was just the next door vendor, the one that sells the DVDs. She wanted the ghost on her table as a little decoration. So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to show you this other thing too. And look at us going 40-something minutes. Go me. Might get some views on this video. I saw some people making a cat pod, and it was basically like a domed ottoman shape with a hole in it, and so the cats could get in and do whatever cats do inside a bag. And I wanted to use up this peach coloured alder yarn because I don't like it a great deal. So at the market yesterday, I just started making, and it's not going to be a cat pod, it's going to be a cat sack. So I'm thinking, I made this yesterday. This is how slow it was. I actually made this yesterday. So that's quite big. I'd say that's about 14, maybe 16 inches across. It has gone all fluted. I don't know why. I don't care. What I'm going to do with this is, at the moment, it's really weird actually. At the moment, I'm just doing rounds with no increases and it's staying kind of flat. So I'm going to do that until it gets a decent size, like big enough to fit a cat's butt in there. And I'm going to make a sack out of it. So it will be like, a sack shape with a gathered thing, and I'll put a little hole in it somewhere. Or the other thought was, where a sack where you gather it up and you would tie something around the top. I was thinking of maybe leaving an opening there. So then you could, have it this way and cat can go in through the top, or have it tipped over and cat can go in through the front. But I thought I might just do that to use up my yarns and make some cat sacks. And then I thought if I could find some yarn that's bigger, because this is taking forever. I don't know how long it took, but because I'm using a smaller hook, it's taking longer than I'm going to be able to make money out of. So I was thinking if I could maybe find some really chunky yarn and make some cat sacks. And then I thought, well, I could put like little feet and faces on them, and like I made the big fat pig, I could make big fat cat sacks. So random thoughts that I have while I'm just tuning out. I did have another thought there, and I'm so annoyed that I didn't write it down. I thought about something to do with a gingerbread man, and for the life of me, at the time, I thought, oh my God, that's a genius idea. That's as far as I got. I can't remember. I have absolutely no idea where I was going with that gingerbread man thought. So I have had a couple of ideas this week, and I just have to remember to write them down. And then I say things to myself like, okay, yeah, write it down later. You won't forget that because that's a great idea. Yeah, thanks, past me. I'm not going to remember stuff like that. So I've got notepads up the wazoo. I'm just going to have to keep one next to me and write down my stuff. So I think we've come to the end of things, and it's probably enough of me talking at you. Hopefully I've had some pictures and things to put up there to keep you interested. If you stayed around this long, thank you so much. I do appreciate that. Thank you for all of the new subscribers who've come along from different channels. I really do appreciate that too. And oh my goodness, the people who've bought Big Fat Pig pattern, he's going nuts. I think I've sold, well, when I say going nuts, I think I have now sold 14. 14 big fat pigs, and there's like a whole bunch in people's carts. I want to say carts. I don't know what it's called. And then so when what do you call him? When Magic Mushroom comes out, I will probably have a sale on Big Fat Pig and Blossom as well. So yeah, keep an eye out if you've got Big Fat Pig in your basket waiting for a sale. Coming soon. Won't be huge because it's not an expensive pattern anyway. And the Magic Mushroom will be fairly cheap. I've got to talk to my testing team and see what they think is a good price for one little mushroom pattern. And that's us done. So thank you again for sticking around, and I hope you all have a fabulous week. If you are on holidays of any kind, I hope you get great weather, and I hope it's relaxing for you. I will see you again probably sometime next week because I have to try and think of something red and space to make. Why couldn't it have been purple? That would have been so much easier. Anyway, red space, ideas below, please and thank you. And I will see you again sometime during the week. Take care, and I'll catch you later. Bye.